戦いっぷりだったわ。お前たちにしては。
Not bad, not bad.
Round 2. Oh, this is beautiful.
Damn! いい戦いっぷりだったわ。お前たちにしては。
That's a lot of damage. More. Oh my.
お兄ちゃんこの人佐世保のしぐれよ。よく見てなさい。
Hey everyone, Aka Milkshake here. Today in this video, we will be talking about my favorite doggo in Azur Lane, Shigure.
白露型駆逐艦しぐれというの。自慢じゃないけど幸運の女神の加護があるのよ。運も実力のうち、いい加減認めなさいな。
Shigure is an elite Sakura Empire destroyer that becomes a super rare once you retrofit her. She is of the Shiratsuyu class, and her sisters include Shiratsuyu herself, Kawakaze, Umikaze, Yamakaze, and Yudachi. Her voice actress is Yuki Kuwahara, who also voiced Nelson in Azur Lane. Some of her other roles include Toru from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and Naho Takada from Demon Slayer. Alright, so let's talk about references. Currently in Azur Lane, we only have 7 of the 10 Shiratsuyu class destroyers. At first glance, it is easy to associate Shiratsuyu, Shigure, and Yudachi in the same class since their common traits are the school uniform and that they are dogs. But Kawakaze, Umikaze, and Yamakaze look very different, and they are based on different animals. Another common trait that these 3 have is their flowy sleeves. Now I believe this design choice is based on their names, with the 3 of them having names that are associated with wind and breeze. This is in comparison to Shiratsuyu, Shigure, and Yudachi, who have names that are associated with water and rain. I am not sure if this is the actual reason, so till we have more of the Shiratsuyu class destroyers released in Azur Lane, this is just gonna be my theory, an Azur Lane theory if you will. Okay, so back to Shigure. Her retrofit skill called Rain and Snow is a reference to her name, which means autumn shower. The autumn part of her name is associated with snow because autumn is the season that transitions from summer to winter, whereas the shower part of her name is associated with rain. Speaking of skills, her next skill called Shigure of Sasebo is a reference to the shipyard called Sasebo Naval Arsenal, which is located in Sasebo, Nagasaki. But the funny thing is, she wasn't built there. Instead, she was built at Uraga Dock Company at Uraga, Japan, whereas her sisters Shiratsuyu and Yudachi were built at Sasebo. So why would this skill be called Shigure of Sasebo? Well, that's because Sasebo was the main shipyard that Shigure underwent repairs throughout her operational history. Did you know that other than Yukikaze, Shigure has also earned the reputation of being lucky or unsinkable? There are some other references to this, like her skins called the Ballroom's Lucky Star and Lucky Chocolate. Even though she claims that her luck is better than Yukikaze in her character story, stat-wise, she has lesser luck than Yukikaze. This is probably because Shigure did eventually sink in the Gulf of Siam in 1945, whereas Yukikaze survived the war. The reason why Shigure is still considered lucky is because of the many occasions when she avoided death. She was the sole surviving destroyer during the Battle of Vela Gulf in 1943, and even though she was later hit by a torpedo, it failed to explode. She also avoided taking damage from US ships during the Battle of Horaniu and the Battle of Empress Augusta Bay. There are also cases when Shigure sustained damage but she didn't sink. Even when she took heavy damage during an air raid on Truk by US aircraft, sustained 2 shell hits during her days in Operation Con, took a minor hit from a direct bomb to her forward gun, and a direct shell hit during the Battle of Leyte Gulf, she survived. She was also the only one that survived the Battle of Leyte Gulf, whereas other ships like Yamashiro and Fuso sank. This was referenced in Shigure's self-introduction line, and speaking of Yamashiro and Fuso, both of them are heavily featured in Shigure's secretary storyline too.
白露型駆逐艦2番艦しぐれというの。最初は第1艦隊に所属して、まあ頑張ったわ。その後第2艦隊に配属され、運命の霊気機械戦に参加した。一人だけになったけど、あの戦いのみんなの勇姿を忘れないわ。山城姉さん、クソお姉さん。
Furthermore, another reference to all these instances when Shigure avoided getting hit is a huge boost in evasion from her Shigure of Sasebo skill, which, along with her having the 9th highest luck among all the destroyers in the game so far, makes up for her decently innate evasion stat. Till this day, Shigure still has the 2nd highest torpedo stat among all the destroyers in the game so far. This, coupled with her having a very high torpedo efficiency of 165% and her increasing torpedo stat from her retrofit skill when paired with Yukikaze, makes her a very powerful torpedo destroyer. This could be a reference to Shigure inflicting massive damage against the US destroyer USS Selfridge during the Battle of Vela La Vela. This could also be a reference to her sinking the submarine USS Growler, though this is still a possibility as Growler was officially listed as lost in action. Throughout her operational history, Shigure has participated in a lot of escort and rescue operations. I'm pretty sure there are more, but here's all that I could find. This heavy involvement in rescue and escort operations is probably referenced in the second part of her retrofit skill when not sorted with Yukikaze, as Shigure now takes a more supportive role in reducing damage taken by other ships and healing them when necessary. Oh, and finally, this isn't really a naval reference, but when she sorties with Yudachi and Shiratsuyu, she mentions monkey core. This is a reference to her artist Saru, which also means monkey in Japanese. She also has a voice line when sorted with other ships illustrated by Saru, and there are a lot of ships. Alright, so let's talk about Shigure's skill. Her first skill is called Shigure of Sasebo. When firing her main gun, there is a 5% chance to increase her own evasion by 60% for 8 seconds. Now in the past, when Shigure only had this skill before her retrofit, it's pretty meh. Because for torpedo-based ships, we would much prefer a skill that boosts their damage output, like Ayanami. But with her retrofit skill, this skill's value increases as her retrofit covers her offensive capabilities, so having this skill to boost her evasion by 60%, which is a lot, is very good. Speaking of her retrofit skill Rain and Snow, it has two parts. If she is sorted with Yukikaze, it increases her own torpedo stat by 15%, and every 20 seconds, there is a 70% chance to launch a barrage. If she is not sorted with Yukikaze while being alive in the fleet, she decreases the damage taken by other ships in the same fleet by 5%, and once per battle, when the health of an allied ship drops below 20%, she will heal that said ship for 10% of their max health. I absolutely love this skill so much because it opens up opportunities to make Shigure a support or a full-on offensive torpedo destroyer. As mentioned before, Shigure has the 2nd highest torpedo stat and has a very high torpedo efficiency, so pairing her with Yukikaze will make her insanely strong as a torpedo-based damage dealer. However, if you dislike Yukikaze like me, because I find her extremely annoying for some reason, you can pair Shigure with other supporters like Noshiro or Jinsu to make up for Shigure's offensive boost. I personally think this is a better arrangement because they provide additional buffs, like Jinsu's increase in torpedo crit rate and damage, and Noshiro's reduction in torpedo damage taken and increase in the Vanguard ship's crit rate. Additionally, since Yukikaze isn't in the team, you will also receive Shigure's damage reduction and her healing. Though not a lot, it is still a very nice touch. Alright, so as for stats, Shigure gains a lot of stats after retrofit, mainly her torpedo stat, which is really good because this increase in stats also comes with a retrofit skill. However, I can hear you asking, isn't Yudachi or Ayanami better? Stat-wise, yes, Yudachi is the better one as she has a higher health pool and evasion stat. Even though her torpedo stat is lesser than Shigure, it is only by a very small amount. Personally, I also think Yudachi's retrofit is way better because her skills give a lot more boost offensively as well as better survivability. This can also be said for Ayanami, especially after her retrofit when she gains a new skill that boosts her evasion. Though not as much as Shigure, it is still pretty good. Also, the majority of Ayanami skills improve her damage output, whereas Shigure needs to rely on having Yukikaze and her innately high torpedo stat and efficiency to get her max damage potential. Therefore, as a suggestion, if you do have Yudachi, invest in her first. But if you are still stuck in the point mines or are new to the game, you can decide to invest in either Ayanami or Shigure because both of them are really solid options and you won't have any regrets if you choose one over the other. Alright, so let's talk about gear. For main guns, there is only one option and that is the Blue 76. This is because the skill Shigure of Sasebo is a firing based skill, so with a higher fire rate, the more chances her skill activates and boosts her evasion. Also, since her firepower is, well, pretty trash, you won't get any drawbacks from using this gun. As for torpedo launchers, it depends on your playstyle. For autoplay, you can go with the 533mm Quintuple or its variant from Gear Lab. You can also use the Rainbow Quintuple Magnetic Torpedo, which can also be used for manual play when face-stopping enemies, since nearly all the torpedoes will be guaranteed to hit the target. Other manual play options that offer higher damage per torpedo is the 610mm Quadruple or its variant from Gear Lab. Alright, so let's talk about skins. I absolutely love her retrofit art way more than her default one. Her wing is absolutely adorable and her claws are super badass. They even have guns attached to them, which is insanely cool. Can we also talk about her drip? You can never go wrong with black and red. Also, I love the skirt design, which is white at the front and black at the sides. The sides of her skirt are also longer than the front, which gives it an asymmetrical design. Fun fact, this skirt design is the same as Yudachi retrofit, which is very fitting since they are both sisters. Alright, her next skin is called Attack I-490. Did you know that if you Google I-490, you won't find anything because this submarine doesn't exist? So what does this number mean? Well, it is a pun of a name in Japanese, as Shi is 4, Ku is 9 and Rei is 0. And since this skin is about us confusing her for a submarine, her designated submarine number is therefore 490. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, I think this skin is alright for me. I mean, I do like the angle and she's pretty thick and her booba... Anyway, moving on, her next skin is called the Ballroom's Lucky Star and I absolutely love this skin. Her dress looks incredible and I love the color choice for it. It is black but the shade gives it a soft silky texture, kinda like Black Heart skin from the Hyperdimension Neptunia event years ago. Her nails are also really on point, no pun intended, as each has a different design. I also love how her torpedo launcher and guns are in a shiny metallic black, which gives it a very luxurious feel. Now her last skin in the game currently is called Lucky Chocolate. I love how she has a knife with her and her oversized dog paws are really cute. This is also the only skin that shows us a front view of Shigure, as the rest has us viewing her from the side. The only thing that I don't really like is her facial expression. Yeah, I get it's supposed to be her flustered look, but I prefer her cheeky one from the rest of her skins. Alright, so what are my thoughts about Shigure? I think she is an absolute beast that I overlooked when she first came out. Her retrofit really fixed her issue of not being a strong torpedo damage dealer, and her new skill gives us flexibility in making teams with her. I did make a retrofit video before featuring her, and till this day, I still highly recommend investing in her. But I mean, now we have Yudachi retrofit, so it's a bit hard to compare her with Shigure, as Yudachi does offer a lot more. But regardless, Shigure is a very solid unit on her own, and I never regretted investing in her. Also, she is very cute, and I love how she behaves as the older sister of Yudachi. Alright, so here are all my thoughts about Shigure. What do you guys think? Do let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do leave a like if you guys did, subscribe for more awesome content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.